Second day of practice, just kind of where's your brain at? How everything's looking?
Good. We got. I'm not the one to usually be satisfied with things like that, but good. Way better than this time last year. Just a lot more faith and confidence in what they're doing, which allows you to play faster. So I like that part of it.
We heard that from Coach Brady yesterday as well, just kind of being a step ahead of where you were this time last year. What's kind of the minutia of that to you?
I mean, you've got some leaders, you got some vets. They kind of push the pace and drive the younger guys to kind of match their level. We challenge those leaders. Hey, you can either hang out up at your level or you can drag those guys up with you. And we've asked them to do that. It's a lot easier to play faster when you're confident in what you're doing and what you know. When you can play faster, you can play more violently. That's kind of what we're looking at during this camp.
Speaking about Coach, what about having Kavanaugh back on the field with you guys there?
I mean, you guys have known him for a long time. He's awesome. He's really honest. He's crystal clear with me about what he likes and what he doesn't like. Life is simple with him. He makes it abundantly clear. I don't want to do that. I do want to do this. I think he's got a good, simple plan that our guys can execute. It's been smooth. But when you know somebody, you have a relationship like that, you can work like that, and you can have those pretty honest conversations.
Can you talk quarterback room for us? What you think of the group?
I really like the room. You got different types of guys. Obviously, some experience with Malik, big body that can really throw it around. I think the other three guys have athletic ability that is fun. I think we're going to need everybody that can help us on offense this season. But I think the intelligence in the room is much higher than it was last year, just in the system, the trust in the system. I'm really happy with where we are, and not just adding a couple players here and there, but also adding Langs back into the picture is a huge help for me. He can kind of get a feel for some guys how they learn. I don't know if he got that. Let's try it another way. He's just really helpful for me to have another set of eyes and another kind of opinion on things through the quarterback lens.
Speaking of the younger guys in there, I know Tristan joins the room. Can you speak on how much of a benefit it is to have another arm in there compared to spring? And then sort of how's he looked the first couple of days? I know it's only 2 days fall camp, but how quickly has he been picking things up?
Yeah, usually with freshmen, there's a couple storylines that it usually tracks on. And Tristan is extremely smart. And he works really hard. That's a great combination. You add that to talent, you're talking special. I think he has the ability to be special. He's going to be really good early on. There's always a point with these guys where there's a lot of stuff on their plate, a lot of plays, more than they've been used to, more defensive looks. Things get more exotic and more challenging. So we've got to try to keep him, kind of keep your head above water in a sense as we go. But super impressed by him so far.
Well, he talked yesterday about communication within the system being the key for him. Where do you see him? Is he 100% there, or is there still some room to grow this fall communicating in this offense?
Yeah, I think he knows the plays. He can draw you the plays. There's a communication piece where it's not just being able to talk it, it's being able to talk the same language. When I say something, we've got to be on the same wavelength, because I might say loose, and that means something in our offense, but he's got to, instead of saying loose, he's got to, he can't say something other than that. He needs to speak the language with me, and he's getting there. He needs to be better tomorrow than he is today, but that's kind of just part of development that we're into here. But he works like crazy. The communication piece is not just a thing with Malik, it's a thing with everybody in the offense. It's critical to what we do. There's more plays that are ruined by lack of communication or poor communication than by poor scheme. So we don't want to let something as easy as communicating loudly, clearly, hold us back from where we want to go.
Where do you see this offense, making the biggest strides this year over last? Just, big playability is one that people talk about.
Yeah, we need to create explosives. It's better to score in 2 plays than 13 plays. We have a lot of 13-play drives. The longer you have the ball, the longer you possess it, the more chances you have for some type of negative play, whether it be a fumble, an interception. We hope those things don't happen. A penalty, just anything that can be negative towards an offense. The longer you're out there, the higher the chances that happens. So we need to be more explosive. I think our receivers have gotten better than they were last year. I think we are better throwers than we were last year. So am I optimistic about that? Yes. I think everywhere in the offense, talent-wise and understanding of what we're doing, we're better. So I think we can get that going.
How about the explosiveness at running back this season?
Yeah, I'm super happy. Obviously, Hank is Hank. You want to talk about a leader by example with his word, with just the way he prepares himself. He's fantastic. But there's some other guys in that room that I think can really help us. Obviously, you guys saw some of Sala last year. Marquise is a guy who ran for nearly 1,100 yards, I think, his freshman year at La Tech. So there's guys in there that can do it. I think Corday Glass broke a couple runs today that I was super excited about. So there's certainly bodies in there that could be the home run hitters that we need.
One of those receivers, being Clemens, obviously last year with this, injuries and whatnot. How have you seen him now? Does he look, healthy? There's a lot of potential with him last year. How do you see him developing?
Yeah, I think first things first with Darius is just health. He looks great out there right now. He knows what he's doing. He's a big body, and him and Malik have a really good relationship. So we need to keep fostering that and working on it and giving them chances in practice to get that going. There's got to be a real trust between the two of them to push the ball vertically and see what happens. But that's the same thing with all of them.
What do you think of the level of work that guys put in terms of throwing in the offseason? He was talking about 6 days a week. In the summer
I told it, we need to turn that down a little bit. We're in a developmental phase, which we need to throw. It's important for them to work that timing. But those guys he's not running like they are. They have hamstrings, and those hamstrings can pull, and we do not want that to happen.
Right.
So 6 days a week is a lot. If you want to throw 6 days a week, I'm okay with that, but I don't want them running 6 days a week. I'm telling you, these guys are junkies. They're here all the time. You have to pull them back, I'd rather have it that way than the other way.
When you kind of look in, going into this year 2 for you as a play caller and, getting to run your own offense, where do you feel like you've evolved the most as in kind of that leadership and play caller role as an OC?
I think you just kind of figure out what works and what doesn't, what works for me, what works for our players. You kind of get more and more comfortable of where do I need to develop myself in terms of game planning or just my call sheet or the flow of the game or where are we deficient in our operation. It's everything. There's not one part that I don't think we haven't tried to work on and make better. But these games, for the most part, should call themselves from the work that you put in during the week. And that work, I think, is a lot of, you don't really see that on game day. It's like he's just up there calling plays. Well, we've spent a ton of time figuring out what those calls are. Obviously, 4 new coaches on offense, and it's not just me. I'm not just a dictator up there and say, this is what we're doing, slide in the sheet and say, get it done. It's collaborative, and we're all I've got a lot of guys who have called plays in there. I got a lot of guys with really good opinions, and it's a really fun, collaborative environment to work in.
When you've got a guy like Malik that the locker room can look at as a guy who's done it, who's had success at this level, does that just raise the confidence level of the entire room, knowing we've got a guy that we can hitch our wagon to?
I mean, you're going to have to ask those guys, Darius and those guys. But, there's no substitute for experience. You need to get it at some point. There's no substitute for the statistics that he's put up. What he did last year at Duke is impressive. The way he works is impressive. I think that certainly seems like it would give confidence to the locker room. Offense and defense, that's not just a one-sided deal either.
Well, a lot of new faces in the tight end room as well. Just how do you evaluate that group, and are you seeing guys that could provide different things, whether it be blocking or going out to catch? How do you evaluate where guys are fitting in right now?
There's a lot of different spices in the cabinet. You've got different body types, different athletic abilities, but guys that I think we're going to have to get on the field. There's probably 4 of them that need to be on the field. Now, there's also a lot of receivers that we need on the field. We got a lot of running backs, so that's up to us on kind of rotating guys through and keeping them fresh, keeping them ready as the year goes on. But I think Bryce has played a lot of football here. Riley played some at Miami, and then you've got a couple guys who have been injured or we haven't been as available in the past that we need to get in there. It's a deep room. There's a lot of numbers. I like them a lot. I think we can. They'll be a really big asset for us this year.
Similarly with the offensive line, how's that group shaking out for you? A lot of starters to replace with a lot of injuries last year as well.
Yeah,
How's that
injuries, spring ball injuries. We didn't really get a very good look at what that group looks like during the spring. We're still getting some guys, working into the lineup. Optimistic about where that group is going. Again, really good leadership. I think when you can get your center back in there, kind of the guy that's directing the show, that's really comforting for me and for Coach Kavanaugh, guy that's played a lot of football in Bam Wells. And then, there's some pieces that were injured last year that are already back, and I feel good about it. I think we've got good depth, but, you always feel better about it when they're all out there at the same time. So until then, just, we're developing guys, and guys are going to get